is Majid Al-Chaudhary. I'm a licensed certified Chief Information Security Officer and independent IT consultant. Thank you very much for EC Council Academy and University for giving us the opportunity to give you today a presentation about how to develop a corporate information security strategy and roadmap that's most important aligned with your corporates and businesses. The content of this presentation starts as any other one, starting with some definitions that are important to know, followed by the sensitive business data life analysis and how the data life analysis is going in corporates, where to start, how to end, then the strategy domains, and of course, the planning approach for these domains. Once come to the planning, we come up with the transformation programs, which is started with the information security structure, starting from the resources, manpower, technologies, and number two, the information protection, followed by the HR and ethics, which is really important in corporates. Of course, we cannot just forget and consider the human resources and technologies without focusing on the business continuity and data classification. That's why it's one of the most important transformation programs that we are going to have and discuss on this presentation. The last one is the physical archiving and IT data center, followed by open discussion to know and share your challenges. We have information security, and the other way around, we have cybersecurity. In today's presentation, we are going to elaborate more on the information security and not only the cybersecurity, which will include the most processes and methodologies in corporates, because the information security, it's more wider than the cybersecurity only as one domain. Of course, to do so, we need to do it through deployment of a strategy. To do this deployment or a strategy deployment, we need to plan high level the goals with the specific conditions and terms. And the way of the deployment will be done through a clear roadmap, okay, on how to achieve these milestones. The business data life cycle is starting as simple as is, by creating the data, by having this information, whether on hard copy, a document, or soft copy in a Word file, then to be stored and saved in a secure place or in a desktop or archiving system. Then someone else will be using this information, and he or she may share it with other people who will be interested, whether in changing the data or removing the data. And here is the end of the data life cycle. However, there is plans for archiving and how long it will be archived to be saved. Of course, if we are going to discuss the strategy itself is built on different standardization and frameworks which come with the experience and lesson learned. And it's built up on domains, if you allow me to call them here in domains. And these domains is the programs that we are going to deploy in the corporates and businesses. Technology and digital transformation. Anything in touch with the technology and how to do business transformation for the local paperwork or anything not built on digital platforms to be digitalized and implemented on digital platforms. Education and awareness, and it's very important program that corporates must work on it, because it will help them in understanding why do we have these strategies, what is the purpose, how this will be helping the corporates and businesses in their businesses growth, how this will be protecting the data. Of course, we cannot just close the eyes on the HR and ethics. It's very important. Governance, information security, and business continuity to ensure the continuity of the businesses. To do so, we need to plan for it in very proper way. And to do this planning, we need to understand what are the objectives of this corporate. For example, if we have a business and the objective of this business is to have expansion, so we need to understand this in our information security strategy. There will be an expansion from business perspective as far as from technology perspective, which means we will be having additional network, and this network need to be secured, protected, and the data will be stored somewhere else, not only in the headquarter, and so on. Of course, to go forward and to do this strategy, we need to assess the current situation and the technology enhance. If do we have a firewall in place? Do we have IPS technology in place? Do we have before that archiving system and procedures how to maintain the data or not? And if we have or not, we need to have transformational action plan from the situation that we are nowadays up to 5 or 7 years from the future. What is really needed to be in place as a new products, new technology to acquire, or what do we need to do as an additional changes through the change management module, okay? Through the change management module to adapt the current one, the current technology to be on the top rank or the high, meeting the highest standardization. How you will know when you are there? There should be kind of a KPIs, key, okay, items that we need to meet and compare the situation nowadays with it. If we are there, if we succeed to meet these KPIs or not. Of course, the auditing is important player to ensure and help the information security in auditing whatever that they are doing, whether the information security or the IT department or any other department or influencers, in the case that we are going to elaborate more in the coming slides. Once we are done with the strategy, implemented, everything is okay, and we are meeting the KPIs with the highest rate. Should we stop? No, of course, and big no here, because there should be a continuous improvement plans and enhancement. For example, the antivirus engines. We cannot just acquire the antivirus, okay, on the corporate networks and leave it as without getting the new pattern files, without ensuring the engine is up to date, and we are firing back the new viruses come on every day. So that is important to us to have this continuous improvement, and not only from technical perspective as much as from business processes. The business keeps changing every day, every month. It, the world keeps changing. So we need to ensure that our procedures also and policies is up to date with the situation that we are in. So the planning approach, it's mainly depending on these 5 major stages to do the deployment and to do the planning. Sorry. We are done with the planning. The situation now, we are moving to the deployment. To do so, we have these corporate transformation programs that we have to have enhanced as a major planning, then we can implement it. The first one is to have the information security structure itself. We need to have this structure, which will be allowing us to do the next four items: the information protection, the HR and ethics again, the business continuity and data classification, and the last one is the physical archiving for the hard copies and data centers. What is the information security structure that we keep mentioning in here? One of the most important supportive items for any department, for any function, and especially the information security, is to be empowered, to have the authority, okay? And to have this authority, we need to have a leader as a chief information security officer, at least who is engaged with the corporate board discussion in the highest senior level to understand and monitor the business growth and monitor the business new directions. Of course, who is going to support the chief information security officer? CISO is the committee for the information security. So it's important to have this committee which will be helping the CISO and do this project monitoring and supporting the fund for any information security program and projects. Of course, once we have the CISO, we need to have a team for this information security. We need to acquire, for example, a cybersecurity manager who will be dealing with the technology. We need to acquire a cybersecurity assessment role and many other roles. We need to have this security operations center and its team. So the information security structure, it's a mandatory item to start with and to build in your planning, in your information security plan, to ensure that you are empowered enough and this function is empowered enough to do the good change. Otherwise, whatever planning we are doing will go to do nothing with big zeros. So it should be connected with the senior management team and the board committee in somehow in very good relation and maintain this relation to support the information security function. Of course, once you are done with the information security structure and you build up the team and the organization structure, we need to start with the most or the highest percentage on the any information security plan, which is the information protection program. And here it's one word, the technology. Whatever technologies that we have, from firewalls, antiviruses, IPS systems, DMZ networks, and these technology will be supporting the digitalization transformation on corporates. I'm not going to mention all information and technologies that could be involved in the information protection program, but of course, once we are there, we need to ensure that we have effective IT security operations center, SEM. We need to have a knowledge base application and database and whatever physical technology system that we have for corporates. We need to have NOC and enterprise network discovery. We need to have this system application assessment. We have to have a leading email protection solution. We need to have a DLP solution. We need to have this and we need to have that. And of course, ERP solution above on these, because it's important for businesses to implement the procedure as is, with the quality parameters, and ensure it's meet the business requirements and it's supposed to. Please remember that the information security as a function, it's not maybe you are an enterprise that is not considered as a profit center, as a supportive, as much as it's a supportive function for the main businesses. So you need to select and pick the solution that's it's important to you, and prioritize the remaining solutions in the gap of 5 to 7 years implementation. So the most important technology that you need to have, and this is a free tip to you also, is the one that mentioned in the corporate audit risk assessment, because our job to fulfill the and to cover the gaps, we should ensure there is no much gaps from the audit reports. And the other items that, or the other solution that we need to have as a second priority, is the solution that we need to have to meet the specific international standard or local regulations to operate your businesses. So I will leave this to you to with the advice to select in your 5 7 years, and it depends on everything. It's not day and night solution that you need to implement. No, you need to prioritize based on your business requirements, based on your local regulators, and international standardization, of course. Once you are done and you have these technologies implemented everywhere, do you think that we are ready and we are fully committed to the information security? Unfortunately, the answer is no, because the most important asset usually in any corporate is people. And people here, once come to corporates, they are in different stages or different relationship with corporates and businesses. And if we need to ensure we have implemented the information security in the way it's supposed to be implemented, we need to ensure that the human being involvement is there. That's why before hiring people as an HR function, we need to ensure that they do understand their roles, they do understand their responsibilities, and we do good screening for them. We cannot just let everyone join the corporates. We need to do this background investigation check. We need to ensure they read the main title of the code of ethics of the company and the terms and conditions of their contracts, so they will not be shocked later on and we lost their loyalty and the data leakage somehow through people. And if we hire them here, we need to keep them, because they hold very sensitive information and they are the one who drive businesses in corporates. So we need to ensure that we give them the right engagement, the right orientation, and of course the responsibilities, they are what they are going to do, when they are going to do, and the procedures. For some reasons, people leave. Whether they leave us for good job offers or we terminate them for turnaround initiatives, for restructuring, for business optimization. So even though once we are doing the termination, we need to ensure that we do it in the proper way from the information security perspective, in the way that we have their assets before they leave and ensure they do the good handover for the electrical devices, for their duties, for the data they hold, for the access rights, and who is going to take it after them. So all these, if you noticed, the information security, it's not only the way of cybersecurity 10 years ago. No, we are in everywhere nowadays. We need to speak loudly and get ourselves involved in the HR department too, and to help them in giving the proper way from information security perspective in the way that we protect the company assets, whether people or data. For some reasons, corporates take too much care of technologies, of people, but due to the load balance and the business nature, they are not involved enough on the social media and these activities. And God help us here. How is the social media being whether a killer for these corporates or very supportive item and player for these corporates? So So it's not only the technology itself or the people as much as the social media. We need to ensure that we are monitoring the social media without mentioning names, but there is well-known products and technology on the market, okay, where we can mention the business name and we can damage it in the next day. So corporates must ensure, and as an information security, you must plan for it from technology perspective that you have to have the social media monitoring tool so it can catch any word about your business or corporate name once it's happened, not 10 days later through legal other companies or other competitors legal department or through the government. No, you should be aware in first, and you need to be your job is to protect the corporate's reputation because it's the most valuable item and asset for these corporates. Of course, once we are done and we have everything, are we in there? Situation is not yet, and awareness is also important. We should continue doing this awareness for the people interest before the corporate interest. What they will be in their interest if they protect their email. No one will know your package, for example. No one will be knowing your salary, which should be confidential information not to be shared. So as part of the employee responsibility, they shouldn't share their salaries. So if we do this awareness not to allow people to know your email password because how you have this confidential information and one of them is your salaries, which is your responsibility here, they will we need, we are connecting dots in here for the corporate interest. But before that, we should care about the people interest and translate it in the human language. So we get their buy-in, okay, to help us as an information security to protect, to do back, to protect the corporate's data. Of course, the most important in here by deployment of the policy security awareness training and information security, rule-based security training, test training, monitoring, and a lot of things up to the level of data classification awareness. It was a good journey with the technology, human being, ethics, but still there is room to go with information security. And I do believe professionally the business continuity and data classification, it's a good interest for information security to be under the master corporate business continuity plan. Corporates must prepare themselves for any future disaster, whether financially, whether once come to building, whether human or staff availability or technology disaster recovery or whatever is things that are a disaster to corporates by interrupting the business continuity or damaging the business itself. So to start doing this, as a step one, we need to include it or to have it in a separate plan as a business continuity plan and disaster recovery plan to take care of this angle. And by the way, this is a gray area in corporates responsibilities, whether in X department or Y department. But my advice to you in here as an information security professional, and you are, ladies and gentlemen, is to do extra mile, and if no one responsible for it, please go and take it, because it's important to you to ensure the business continuity plan is there and disaster recovery too. Once we have this business continuity, we need to prepare ourselves for the data classification and retention, because it's important for the business continuity by classifying the data and information on how classified they are, how confidential they are, and the nature of this data. For example, the legal data and licenses, commercial one, need to be kept here, for example, in Saudi Arabia, at least 10 years. I don't know about your countries. I don't know about your local regulators. However, you need to be connected with your local regulators and the legal department and the business development department and the other ones through the information security committee. If we do remember them, to have this data classification. For example, another one, if we go to the HR department, should we keep the staff contract if he is in the company during his present in the company? Of course, yes. But for how long if he left the company? So please go back and check, because it depends on the business nature. It depends on your local regulators, but you need to have this. Once we are done once we are done with the technical plan, HR, ethics, and everything else we mentioned, and we start planning for the business continuity and disaster recovery, we need to do proper planning for the data classification and retention policies that we have. And it depends on your business nature, your local regulators, and the way they see the data and for how long it must be archived. For example, the legal data, for any legal data, it should be kept 10 years. This is one of the examples that we have here in Saudi Arabia. I don't know about your countries, but again, it's for a specific nature of businesses. So go back and check and build up this data classification, which is considered in archiving and saving the data on these technical platforms. So for example, another example, these legal data archived on a soft archiving solution. For how long we need to keep it. So there is a strong link and connection between whatever planning that we are doing and the solution and the way of implementing the policies and retention policies for these archiving systems. So it's a very or mandatory policies that we need to have once we are planning for the business continuity and disaster recovery. Of course, last item we can consider here is physical archiving and IT data center, because we have the technical solutions, firewalls, antiviruses. We told people what they need to do through their job description and responsibilities and good awareness programs. We protected our business continuity by having clear procedures on how to do it. But again, everything included in the IT data center. So it's very important to ensure we meet, or the IT data centers meet, the highest performance, improvement, efficiency, and how important to us to keep it up and running most of the time depends again on the business nature that you are running. So to do so, we need to certify as an information security recommender, okay, for the owner IT function, that they need to go and certify their IT data center that it's meeting the highest standardization, and it can maintain the corporate's data and systems, and it will continue up and running in case of any business disaster. And of course, it's under the control of a good physical security. The coming slide here, it's about the paperwork or the in-house archiving and record storage room. We cannot just do digitalization for everything we think about, because there are still some paper work and papers or documents, legal documents, commercial licenses, in such documents need to be kept as hard copy. Do you think it's enough for us to keep it on the disk, or should we keep it in a specific in-house archiving room with a certain number of solutions to support this room, along with a certain number of policies and procedure how to enter for the entrance, what to do if there is a log sheet we need to fill, what the purpose of this visit, and the system of archiving these documents, everything. If you think about it, from information security perspective, we help other functions in getting themselves well organized and to the highest standardization to ensure the data protection. And this is one of the situations that we are in again once come to the physical archiving and IT data center. And last one in our important physical archiving and IT data center item is the security and safety systems that belong to the building. As a building information security systems could acquire a CCTV system, maybe you have it, yeah, access control systems, door gate systems, phone systems, this and that. But please ensure you have the minimum requirements, if it's not the from high to low security level approach. You have the minimum security requirements in place to secure your corporates from these different angles in align with the information security committee and senior management in your businesses. So thank you very much for attending this presentation. I do understand it was very short elaboration. It's not that much. The purpose of this presentation again is just to give you the painful items that corporates nowadays they are facing, and the way of tackling these painful items and get them to the advantage area where we start the planning, the gap analysis, and the deployment of this strategy. And thank you very much for the good listening, and you are most welcome now to for any questions, and it will be my pleasure for the answer if I have it, and also to share your challenges if you have some. Thank you.